In this episode of the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast, I got my brother James in the building, and he's going to share his thoughts on this 2023 NBA draft class that has a lot of people excited. Obviously, you got Victor Wembanyama, you got Scoot Henderson, you got Brandon Miller, you got the Thompson twins, throw in Chet Holmgren, who is now in this class. So James is going to give his thoughts on the top rookies in this class, who he believes is going to stand out, who he believes is going to struggle. I mean, it's just going to be James's thoughts and opinions on this class. Stay tuned. Now, you know, I might have to let this beat ride. This beat was made by none other than James himself. You know, he knows the draft. He's becoming a good podcaster, but he's made the instrumentals for the last couple seasons on NBA Big Board, so we're going to let this ride out. But thank you, the listener, for making the Locked On NBA Big Board podcast your first listen of the day. I'm your host, Rafael Barlowe, the director of scouting for NBA Big Board. And my brother James is now officially on the Locked On team. You're going to see a lot more of him. He's officially a member of Locked On. If there was like a chain, I would put a chain on his neck, but we don't have a chain. You know, we need to figure out a way to get it out. A Locked On chain. We got like the turnover chains in football, which I think now is just getting a little out of hand.
Yeah, everybody has one now.
Get him a Locked On chain. Maybe I got a t-shirt. Maybe I should have just put a t-shirt on it. But James, you're officially part of Locked On. How does it feel to be officially part of the team?
Feels good, man. I'm ready to get started. I'm ready to get these pods off, man. Ready to get this stuff off my chest.
Oh, Lord. Right in time for basketball season.
Right on time.
All right, let's talk about this 2023 NBA draft class. A lot of people think that has the potential to be one of the best classes in recent memory. I think it's really early to start, you know, categorizing classes as strong or weak, because you really don't know until years down the line. I remember just 2020, everybody thought it was a weak class, and, you know, you got Maxey, who hasn't got paid. I think it's just absolutely insane that he hasn't got paid. And yes, I know the reason why he hasn't been paid is for cap space and all that, but I feel like if he were a top 5 pick with his production, they would have paid him. But that's a whole other story. But Maxey, I think, is going to end up getting a max deal. You got LaMelo Ball. You got Anthony Edwards. Halliburton got a huge deal. I was shocked that Jaden McDaniels got $136.
You were shocked?
I didn't think he was going to get 136.
He's the best defender
and
on the wing.
He's got a lot of offensive game, too.
And see, I remember I talked about him on the pod with you. I was like, yo, if he just chill on the KD prophecy and lock in on defense,
could be nice.
He's going to be really good and little, hey.
And now that I think he got his bread,
they're going to really
offense.
Yeah, they're going to really need him to score now, too, so.
But anyway, 2020 was thought to be weak, and I think it's been a strong class. But 2024, all right, let's start off Victor Wembanyama. I've watched Victor live and in person for years. I've been following him for a while. So far, have you been shocked with what you have seen from the preseason?
So, in research and preparing for this, I wanted to go back to Summer League versus the preseason to see the improvement, not just for Wembanyama, but just for all the guys that we're going to talk about. And early in the Summer League, you know, it was his first game, and it looked like, not doubting his talent, that's crazy, we passed that, right? Or never were on that. But, like, the lights were really bright that first game. He was getting pushed around. He was on the ground a lot. Did he get banged on by Kai the first game?
Yes, he did.
He got banged on, right? But preseason, yo.
Well, his second game.
Yeah, his second game he was a lot better, too. But, like, the physicality, the efficiency, like, he was, like, way better from July to now. And it's, like, scary how good he is right now.
See, I won't even say I think he's, like, way better. I just think that he had a long season. They were playing all the way up until the week of the draft. Then he didn't do anything, and he was basically on this whole media tour. I mean, they just had him doing a bunch of media stuff.
Yeah.
And then he was kind of thrown out there. And, I mean, I feel like, I don't want to say he was out of shape, but I think he was just kind of out of rhythm.
That's fair.
And I think he said he hadn't touched the ball And then the second game, with all the people doubting. I remember sitting next to this dude, and I was in Vegas, and he was on the phone. He was irritating me, but he was on the phone the whole time during that game. He was like, "See, I told you this dude ain't good. They hyped him up." And he was on the phone to somebody that was watching the game on TV, and basically like, he's on the ground, he weak. And I think he showed the second game like, all right, that first game was kind of a fluke, but I feel like a lot of people still don't believe. I mean, we saw Paul George's comments, even though he hit that Deion Sanders back pedal. Did you see that?
Yeah.
He hit that back pedal because he was like, "Hey, dude, Euro from the free throw line." But I think that he's going to be great. I think the expectations are like through the roof. And then at first I was like, man, Pop's going to kind of control it a little bit. But then I'm like, after seeing the preseason, I'm like, he's going to be able to get his points in the flow of the offense. They're not going to have to run a lot of stuff for him. And he's going to create his own points with his defense.
I think he is ahead of what I expected him to be. I thought I would have seen what I saw in the preseason in probably like December. That first like month and a half of the season, you just kind of get used to it. But like, man, he was legit.
Yeah.
And then, we saw the plays on Twitter where he got a steal from, like, the three-point line.
Yep.
And stole the ball from our man Kaysen on the foul line. And, one thing I did underestimate was how fast, foot speed, how fast he was.
Even though he only need, 3 steps.
He did, but he gets there, though. Yeah, he's fast. And then, his quickness and triple threat, I was asleep on. Dude is legit, and it's scary how good he is right now. I will say, and again, it's really not much to do with him. I mean, the 3-point ball has got to get better. The physicality, while he is going to be okay finishing through contact, it's still going to be an issue for him. But I mean, if he can see the rim, he can dunk the ball from
anywhere,
5 feet out. But I just want to see, what does the Jeremy Sochan point guard experience do to Wembanyama? How helpful is it going to be for him? Is it going to be hurtful? I don't know. I just feel like a point guard would get him 6 easy points a game.
Yeah.
And we'll see. And because Jeremy's not a shooter, we're going to go underneath. We're going to trick all that action off.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting to see how that works, if they stick with that full time, if they're going to go to Trey Jones. It'll just be interesting to see how that works.
What do you think about his impact on the defensive end? I think it's lazy to just say, oh man, he's going to be a rim protector.
Nah,
I think he's going to be all over the floor.
He got to steal. Guarding somebody at the 3-point line. He reached. Y'all can't see me on the podcast audio, but he reached and stole the ball from somebody at the foul line.
Yep. And he's blocking jumpers.
Yes.
He's blocking, even if he's not blocking it, he's long enough to where he can be in the paint and he can turn a wide open corner 3 into a contested corner 3. I think defensively, I think teams are going to try to put him on shooters to keep him out the paint. But I think if you put him on a non-shooter, he has the length and athleticism to stop the pick and roll and contest. Yeah. I think he could be all defense as a rookie.
Yeah.
I think he can be all defense.
You know what? Because if Jaren Jackson made all defense in the NBA last year.
He was defensive player of the year.
I don't really agree with that one. But, I don't see how Wembanyama doesn't have a similar impact. And, the only big that I've seen, block that many jumpers in the game was Robert Williams.
Yeah. He was blocking jumpers at A&M. Beating jumpers into the
blocking
crowd.
Threes is crazy, man.
Yeah. And I think Victor are going to do that. Chet, too. I mean, I saw Chet block Dame's step back.
I had that in my notes. So a step back mid-range versus, my man is blocking Klay Thompson 3. And then you seen that steal shot of him contesting at Wiggins?
Yeah.
That looks fake, man.
But that was another one. It was another dude on the Heat. Even though the guy on the Heat made the shot, but it was just the fact that he just had the long contest, man. I think defensively, he's going to be special. I think offensively, he's just going to get his points in the flow of the game. He's going to be able to get maybe 4 points a game just from defense. He's going to get a steal, or he's going to block a jumper and turn that into a fast break.
They're definitely giving him that Zion leak out pass too, where you can test to the top of the key and then you just go be an athlete, go get yourself an easy bucket, and that's helpful because with them not playing the point guard, like all those guys can grab and go. Zach Collins can grab and go. So
it's going to impact his rebounding. All right, when we return, I want to talk about Scoot Henderson and Brandon Miller. Or maybe I should say Brandon Miller and Scoot Henderson. There might be a little bit of concern. I feel like, and this is just my opinion, Scoot has been given a pass for the last year on his inefficiency. People have just kind of glossed over the fact that the shooting it hasn't been good. And I think more has been made when Brandon Miller struggles, but that's just my opinion. Stay tuned to find out James's thoughts on Brandon and Scoot. But before we talk about Brandon Miller, Scoot Henderson, and the rest of the top players in the 2023 NBA Draft, we are going to talk about PrizePicks, because PrizePicks is the largest independently owned daily fantasy sports platform in North America. It is the easiest and the most exciting daily fantasy sports, and all you do is just play against the numbers. James, I know you play PrizePicks all the time.
I do.
For the listener, tell them all you have to do to get on PrizePicks.
So basically, you pick at least 2 guys. You can pick a maximum of 6. You see their projected stat, and you pick either they're going to have more than that projected stat or less than that projected stat. Depending on how many guys you pick, is the larger the payout.
So you can win 25 times your money.
Yes, I've done that a couple of times.
But give me an example of when you won 25 times your money.
Man, let me tell you, man. Look, I had played the Lakers and the Nuggets in the Western Conference Finals last year. Jokic was delivering. KCP made over 1.5 threes. Like, that was an easy slam dunk pick. Austin Reeves was coming through. So basically, I think I made it was a $7 play, something light, and I turned $7 into $175.
You can earn big money with PrizePicks. So go to prizepicks.com/LockedOnNBA. You have to use the promo code LockedOnNBA for a first deposit match up to $100. Second segment. So we talked about Wembanyama, the first segment. We talked a little bit about Chet. I want to hear your thoughts.
Okay.
Because I have my own. I want to hear your thoughts on Brandon Miller. One, do you think that he's going to start for the Hornets?
No.
How crazy is that? Number 2 pick in the draft.
Well, it's not just him. And we'll talk about it. It's other guys too. There are teams who have log jams at positions where guys were drafted at, and unlike years in the past, I don't think you're going to see guys sitting or not playing the minutes that you expect them to play where they were selected in the draft. But Brandon Miller, I don't think it's going to open up for him until they get Hayward out of there. Maybe even Rozier too. I don't even know if Miles is playing, but that's true too. But there's just a log jam of guys on the wing. And it's just going to be hard for him to stand out. And on top of it, he's a number 2 pick, right? You're going to have people who said that pick should have been Scoot, right? He's playing with an all-star with all-star with LaMelo. So there's going to be that attention. And there's all the other negative attention from his past, and then Miles and all the other crazy stuff that has been going on in Charlotte. So it's just he's not, to me, in a great position on top of him struggling.
What do you think his rookie numbers look like?
Okay, so I'm going to split his rookie season into two parts, because there's going to be
you got to think, they might not be able to move Hayward. What team is going to take Hayward?
How many years does he have left?
Even if he has, I don't think he's at 1, but
I think Hayward still has value. I just think he's always hurt. And you got to think about a team.
He's got value on a really good
team, right? And that's just kind of how it's going to have to work for him, because Hayward can play. He's just always hurt. right?
And he went straight for the cash.
and he went for the cash. Hey, man, you know what? And I get it. I 100% understand. I just don't think that he finishes this season in Charlotte just because, like, they just drafted a guy really, really high.
Yep.
And then, so, like, okay, this is the last year of his contract.
So I wonder who takes
He's
it.
at $31 million. And again, this stuff is going to have to happen. Stuff is going to have to shake. But I think that Hayward, if he's interested in being the OG for Brandon Miller, would be a good.
No, he got him out of there. He got to look at that team and like, I don't fit in with none of
I'm
these
not
dudes.
talking about a full-time OG. I'm talking about a part-time to trade line OG, right? But until then, Brandon Miller is going to not look. You're not going to get a good gauge of what he is until, like, they clean up and get some guys out of there on that roster. You see they brought in Ish Smith. I know why they brought in Ish Smith.
So do you think, all right, let's say post-trade of Hayward, Brandon Miller's the starting 3 for the Hornets. Do you think they're going to win 40 games? What type of numbers do you think?
They're not going to win 40 games.
They won 43 2 years ago.
That was 2 years ago. They got too much going on. There's too many distractions. I think post Gordon Hayward trade, I see 15 points per game. They're stuck with Miles, and Miles can hoop, but eventually he's going to play because they just paid him, and then they just paid PJ. And then, Brandon Miller's production largely, to me, depends on if they trade Rozier and they trade Gordon Hayward. You get those two guys out of there, that frees up time for him to find the rhythm, minutes for him to find the rhythm, the opportunities to score. And then when those opportunities come, I can see him being a 15-point-per-game guy. But until then, I just think it's going to be tough. He still continues to struggle to finish at the rim in the half court. But one thing I will say, he looks a lot more athletic in the NBA setting.
The whole athleticism thing was just over.
Yes.
I mean, just people spent too much time on that.
But he looks a lot more athletic in the NBA setting than he did in college.
I hope they let him loose because at Alabama, he wasn't able to shoot middies or get any work in the mid-post. And I think I've seen a little bit out of that in the preseason. But when you watch his film in high school, that was where he did most of his damage at, in the mid-post. And he was just shooting over the top of guys on middies. All right, let's talk about Scoot Henderson. I'm a Blazers fan. Been a Blazers fan for a long time.
Isn't your name on Twitter Blazers 500?
No, I changed it to Barlowe 500 years ago. But Scoot Henderson, and I get it. I think he has been riding the wave of that game against Wembanyama last year. He's shown some flashes, but he was really inefficient last year. I felt like he shut it down in the second half of the G League season. I thought he was not really good in the second half of the G League season. Then he had how many games did he play Summer League? 2 or 3?
Yeah, they shut him down too.
And again, the numbers weren't good shooting as far as efficiency in the Summer League. And then in the preseason, they haven't really been. Are you concerned right now, not long term, but right now, are you concerned about his shooting and the efficiency in the shooting?
Yes, there are going to be efficiency concerns. However, in the comparison, because they're always going to be compared to each other, Brandon Miller, Scoot is going to have every opportunity to figure it out. They cleared the decks for him. Yep. They put guys around him where he can succeed, right? He did shoot like 29% from 3 in the preseason. And whoever they played, the overseas team, those guys were going underneath those screens, and they were making him shoot. But again, it's just a different situation. When you look at really of the top 10, 15 guys drafted, Wemby and Scoot have the best support system around them for them to succeed and improve and to be able to play through stuff. So again, long term, he's got to be a better shooter. Again, it's a hard position to play if you can't shoot.
So I know it's a different era, but Derrick Rose shot 47% from the floor as a rookie, which is really, really good.
That's crazy.
Considering that he only shot 22% from 3, but he only attempted not even 1 3 per game. Obviously, the game is different. Scoot is going to attempt more than that. Do you think that Scoot can shoot Like D Rose, again, it's tough to compare him by D Rose, but that's been one of the comparisons. D Rose shot 49% from 2 as a rookie. Do you think Scoot can come anywhere close to that?
I don't know. It largely Scoot is super athletic. He's not Derrick Rose athletic.
Yeah, he doesn't have that.
That's
Rose
another level.
This weird gear.
Yeah. He doesn't have Derrick Rose athleticism, and he doesn't have Derrick Rose finishing ability, where he can do cartwheels in the air and contortions and all kind of crazy stuff. So that may not be a fair comparison. And I think he's going to take more jump shots than Derrick Rose did.
All right, hold that thought. When we return, I want to ask James if he thinks that Scoot can have a rookie year similar to maybe Russell Westbrook or even Ja Morant when they were first-year players. Stay tuned. All right, last segment. We've only covered, we've covered 3 players, so we're doing okay. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on your predictions for Scoot's numbers as a rookie. So I know I had mentioned Derrick Rose shot 47% from the floor his first year.
Right.
Russell Westbrook was under 40%. Do you think it's more realistic for Scoot to have a Russell Westbrook type rookie season than Derrick Rose?
Yes, because while he has full reign of the offense, they still got some guys there that are capable scorers, and I think that he'll look to kind of get guys more involved early on before we figure out if he's that kind of that level of scorer. So they still got Simons. He's going to average 20.
He might average 25. I think that's what
he's got to find the foul line to get that 25, I think.
But I think he was close to that in the second half of last year.
All right. They got my main man, Shaedon Sharpe.
Who's not even starting. They're starting Matisse Thybulle.
I get it, but, hey, that'll be until they trade Jeremy Grant.
And Thybulle.
I think they'll keep Thybulle.
I think you re-sign him or you match the offer sheet that Dallas gave him so you can try to flip that into an asset. But there's no reason why Shaedon Sharpe shouldn't be starting.
I mean, I get it.
Even from your rebuilding team and from the fan excitement aspect. And it's no knock on Matisse Thybulle, but nobody's paying money to see Matisse Thybulle.
That's true.
Lock up. You want to see Shaedon Sharpe looking like he's jumping off a trampoline.
I think Shaedon Sharpe is close, but he's not there yet.
Of course he's not there yet.
And I'm talking about there for us to all right, we got to really move the decks for him to get loose. But he's close. I'm a big fan.
I'm letting him loose right now. I mean, I'm not expecting to win.
Man,
so.
That dude is different.
All right, let's talk about the Thompson twins.
All right.
Amen and Ausar Thompson. Now, I am on record of saying I did not like the fit with Ausar in Detroit. Actually, I don't even like the fit for Amen in Houston right now just because, and I've talked about it on previous podcasts, if he gets loose in the preseason, they're still not going to give him the opportunity to start. Because they just paid Van Vliet $130. Right. And they're going to start Jalen Green. And they're not going to start him over Dylan Brooks.
No, they just paid him.
So I'm like, in a perfect world, I want to see him in a situation to where he's the man, but I don't really know what team that he would be given the keys as the point guard from day one because, outside of San Antonio, every team has somebody that they've invested in. So I think that the fits for both of those guys are going to be interesting because I believe both are lead ball handlers and they're not going to have the opportunity to really be the lead ball handler. More so, Amen probably has a little bit more of an opportunity, but I thought Ausar has played well. And I'm just curious to see what it looks like when Bojan comes back. When Bojan comes back.
No wiggle Bogdanovic.
Yeah. and I don't know. I like Cade Cunningham. I like Cade a lot. I feel like Detroit needs to surround him with shooters. And Ausar's obviously not a good shooter at this point. I don't think they made a mistake by drafting him. I just personally don't like the fit. So, what are your thoughts on the Thompson twins, how they played this preseason, and what are your expectations coming into the season?
So, let's start with Amen Thompson. All right. So, I feel like I was going back and forth on as far as like his role. Okay, because they got a million dudes at every position. Mm-hmm. But I feel like there will be, let's say Fred not going to play those Nick Nurse minutes at point guard, right? He's not going to play 40 like he was, 39. Yeah. So let's say you slot Fred in at about 32, 34 minutes a game. Yeah. That should leave 16 minutes a game for Amen Thompson on the floor as a backup point guard.
So you're saying 16 minutes where he's the primary ball handler on the floor?
Now, yes, but I wouldn't necessarily say primary ball handler, because if you put him on the floor with Şengün, then they can work together in the sense where, he handles the ball, but, you still get Şengün. He's going to do his Diet Jokic thing. But I feel like it's going to obviously hurt who we're not talking about right now, Cam Whitmore, more because he just does one thing. And they got...
I want to see him play.
I do too, but he's not... Where does he... Tari Eason, Jason Tate, right?
I think there's going to be like...
Hold on, we still talked about Brooks, Jalen Green. Yeah. Like, where are wing minutes?
But I think a playoff team is going to make a trade for Jason Tate.
That's true. But even then, Tari Eason minutes. They still got Jabari Smith minutes. Like, I don't know where like the wing 3-4 minutes are going to be for Cam Whitmore, especially with him being like just a scorer.
What's going to be scary is when he gets in the game, he's going to be getting that thing up.
Good or bad.
Good or bad, because he's going to be like, man, these are my minutes that I'm playing.
You're right.
I'm about to get up but 8 shots in my 11 minutes.
Right. But back to Amen Thompson, he can't shoot right now, but...
It's crazy because you saw the jump shots that he made on social media, and that's all I kept seeing.
Right. But you know what?
2 in a row.
He did make some shots, and shooting is going to be him and his brother. That's always going to be their biggest issue. But what I like about Amen is that like there's just constant rim pressure from him. And like he shot like 5 free throws a game in the preseason. Mm-hmm. And like that's something that you just gotta love. One thing that again with him and his brother is they're gonna have to figure out that they just can't out athlete people anymore.
I mean, I think
they can.
They can. It's just the gap is not like it was.
Yeah. I mean, they still do some amazing stuff. He had the fake Kobe baseline dunk windmill. Like that's crazy. But like he was. I forgot who did he. Somebody caught him, and it was like a family man, backup big. Like, those guys are there now. Yeah. So, it'll be interesting to see how they develop, like, an in-between game. Amen takes the jump shots you want him to take. He was making a couple of them. Mm-hmm. He still can't really shoot right now. I think from a nerd technical thing, something's not right with his jump shot. Like, it looks like it's too much bending on the right. But, I mean, they got... player development guys that can fix that and work on that. But yeah, man.
What do you think about Ausar's fit in Detroit?
See, now here's the thing, though. I think he's going to play a lot in Detroit this year.
I think he's going to play a lot, but
I think he's going to start right away and play not as a backup point guard, but as a 3. Because
so you think he's going to start at the 3?
Yeah, because Bogey's out for 4 weeks.
Okay.
They just ruled him out for 4 weeks, a.k.a. we're going to try to get you into a better spot. Right, Monty Morris, aka he had a phantom injury too, so like there are going to be minutes for him there as a not as a backup point guard,
as a wing, ball handler.
And because I'm telling you right now, he is an all-league defender today.
Is he the best rookie defender in this class?
Not named Wembanyama? Yes.
Is he a better defender than Bilal Coulibaly?
Yes.
Okay. We'll talk about Bilal in a future episode.
His feet move.
Yeah. We all know he can defend.
Yes. He defends with the same intensity that Drew Holiday defends. Now, I'm not saying he's going to be able to defend, which is crazy because Holiday shouldn't have been defending 4s, but like he'll be able to defend 1 through 3, and it's going to be hell. He's picking up full court.
They had Holiday defending Ayton in the finals.
Yeah, they had Holiday guard Zion. Yeah, that's crazy.
You see Jeff Teague's interview with Jordan Crawford?
Yeah.
They're talking about Holiday, so how he chests the dude and then he's got the steal.
Yeah, exactly. But that's what Amen Thompson was doing in the preseason, or excuse me, Ausar Thompson was doing in the preseason. So like he's going to play. The problem is he can't shoot. Right,
and that team needs
shooters because they're already sneaking Isaiah Stewart out there as a forward, a stretch forward, which is to me a stretch. Now again, he's out there, but they don't have any other options. Like
Joe Harris.
Yeah, but Joe Harris' best days is kind of behind him. You're not starting Joe Harris.
No, but I feel like he's got to play a lot of minutes because, you know the saying, boxes and elbows.
Exactly.
That's how
but what I like about Ausar and like them dudes cut.
Yeah.
So like, it's gonna be some air balls out there, some bad misses, but like they cut, and I just feel like my man Herb Jones played a lot last year. Mm-hmm. And Herb is a way better shooter, but like
Herb couldn't make a shot in college to say
exactly. But Herb played a lot last year
and the year before.
Their spacing, Detroit's spacing looks a lot like New Orleans spacing in a sense.
Pelicans got. I mean, you're gonna respect CJ. You're gonna respect. Brandon.
Yeah. I get that, but they don't unless Trey Murphy's out there. They're not playing a sniper out there, right? Zion's not stretching the floor. Zion is just putting pressure on the rim.
He's a 4,
being an alien, and then my man Jonas Valanciunas gonna pump fake you. He'll shoot a 3, but it won't be any different than like Isaiah Stewart shooting 3s. But they'll find ways to use Ausar as a cutter. He'll be in the dunker. We know if he's in a dunker spot, he's going to dunk the ball. So,
all right. So to wrap up this episode, who has a better rookie season between Amen and Ausar Thompson? Better statistically?
I'm gonna go with Ausar because the minutes are going to be there for him.
And give me a prediction on both of their numbers.
Okay, so I think Ausar is going to be like 9, 5, 4, 2 steals kind of guy.
Give me them shooting splits.
Man, I don't even want to. 40, 20, 50. Those are the splits for both of them, really, because they can't shoot free throws either.
40, 20, 50.
Upper 20s.
Like what they were last year. 26,
basically, yeah. I'm not buying them being good shooters right now. And also, even with Amen, like, will the minutes be there for him to get the reps to become a shooter? That's going to be an issue.
Well, that wraps up this episode. There will be part 2. We only got to the top 5 picks in the 2023 NBA draft. In part 2, we're going to somehow find a way to condense some of the other prospects in the 2023 NBA draft class, including Chet Holmgren, who was in 2022. But I want to get James' opinion on Keontae George, Anthony Black, Jarris Walker, Grady Dick. Does Taylor Hendricks play? We talked a little bit about Cam Whitmore. So stay tuned for part 2 of this preview of the 2023 NBA draft class on the 2023-24 season, which is their rookie year. Once again, it's Rafael Barlowe with James Barlowe, and we are out.